Blue Jays family, what's going on everybody? Sif checking in, and everyone, I just finished watching the third game of a 3-game series between the Washington Nationals and the Blue Jays. And in today's game, the Toronto Blue Jays won with a score of 4-2. Not only getting their third win against the Washington Nationals this season, but also sweeping the Washington Nationals in the 3-game series that they had so far. And while I'm pretty excited about the Blue Jays win, not only in this game but in their series against the Nationals, a bit of me was kinda expecting this, just because when you look at the Blue Jays upcoming schedule, especially given the fact that they're going to be facing the Mets, the Yankees, the Orioles again, and other formidable playoff teams in the MLB, we definitely needed to get a positive result against the Washington Nationals in this 3-game series. And with these 3 wins that the Toronto Blue Jays got against the Washington Nationals these last 3 days, it definitely puts us in a great spot, not only in our division in the MLB, but also in terms of our mental game as well, as we head on the road for the other games as well, and the other series that are going to come in the month of April. But with all that being said, in this video we're going to break down everything that the Toronto Blue Jays did in their series against the Washington Nationals. First off, we gotta talk about game 1 between the Washington Nationals and the Toronto Blue Jays. And thinking back to that game, if I could credit 2 specific players on the Toronto Blue Jays for their victory, it would be number 1, Andres Gimenez, and Yimi Garcia being our closing pitcher. Because man oh man, did these 2 brothers play their hearts out for the Blue Jays in this game. Firstly, for Andres Gimenez, he was basically given the green light to do whatever he wanted in that game. And what's more is, not only did he get the green light to do whatever he wanted, he also capitalized when it mattered the most. And what I mean by this is, when the management wanted a home run, Andres Gimenez got that home run. When the management wanted a RBI or a double play, guess what? Andres Gimenez got that too. And what's more is, when the management wanted some defensive plays, whether that be catching the ball or making quick passes to the first or third bases, guess what? Andres Gimenez has that in his skill set too. Basically, to say that Andres Gimenez in that game, you could say he could play all the positions in the baseball field, and the Blue Jays would have just got the win just off him alone. I know I'm being a little over dramatic with that, but that's the way he was playing, at least from a mental state. So shout out to Andres Gimenez for his place in that game, and hopefully he carries it into the future as well. Given the fact that in both the Baltimore Orioles series that they played against the Blue Jays, as well as the Washington Nationals series that they played against the Blue Jays, he was a big factor in that. So I'm hopeful that he will continue to be a big factor for the Blue Jays in the upcoming series as well. Secondly, for Yimi Garcia, man oh man, nothing needs to be said about this brother, because he's just a great closer for the Toronto Blue Jays, and you saw it firsthand when he closed for the Toronto Blue Jays against the Washington Nationals, because every pitch that he made, you could almost guarantee it's going to be a strike, and he just made all of those pitches look so easy, to the point where the Washington Nationals players, they really didn't know how to bat against him. And in the crucial moments when the whole fan base and everyone else in that ballpark was just standing up and cheering, Yimi Garcia just continued to play his game and really just block off the noise, to the point where he just continued to get strikeouts and ended the game with a strikeout as well. And I believe that that's not only a credit to the Blue Jays bullpen, where they really helped him fix his pitching over the spring break and things of that nature, but also I would need to credit the Seattle Mariners pitching staff there too, because he really developed some skills while he was with the Seattle Mariners, and it's really showing now when he's with the Blue Jays as well. So hopefully he continues the great work into the Mets series that we're going to be facing soon, and I expect more and hope he's going to be a great factor for the Toronto Blue Jays in the future games and series of the season as well. Now, this second game between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Washington Nationals was actually a more interesting game than the first game. Not only because for the Washington Nationals, they can't afford to go 0-2 against the Toronto Blue Jays in this 3-game series, but also this second game for the Toronto Blue Jays was a chance for Jose Barrios to make a major comeback, given the fact that he really messed up in that season opener for the Toronto Blue Jays against the Baltimore Orioles, where he let 12 runs go, and of course, because of that, the Toronto Blue Jays lost that game with a score of 12-2. So in this game, Jose Barrios is looking to really cement himself as a really formidable starting pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, and that's what we all as fans was looking for, because we wanted to see how he's going to respond to adversity. And after this game transpired, it's safe to say that he really stepped up to the challenge, because thinking back on this game, whenever Jose Barrios pitched, you can really tell that there was an intensity to his pitch, and he really wanted to prove that not only is he a really good pitcher, but he can really mix and match whenever he wants to. And you saw that through not only his fastballs, but he also added a bit more splitters to it. And the way he was pitching in this game, man, oh man, was it tough for the Washington Nationals to get a read out of him. And because of that, it was just knockout city for him. What I mean is, Jose Barrios was just getting strikeout after strikeout after strikeout like it's clockwork. And of course, because of that, not only was it giving all of the teammates super hype, especially those batters, but also it really put less pressure on the pitchers that were going to come after him, because they just needed to follow what he was doing, and the Blue Jays would get that win. Now, unfortunately for the Blue Jays, the rookie Fluharty really gave up some home runs to allow the Washington Nationals to tie this game at 3 apiece. But when push comes to shove, you can really count on the stars of the Blue Jays to deliver. And Bo Bichette was that man, because in the clutch, and you've seen it in past seasons, he really knows where to hit the ball and exactly at what times to hit the ball. Because when all things mattered and everything was on the line, he hit a RBI single to the right corner field. And because of that, the Toronto Blue Jays were able to rack up 2 more runs. Talk about playing for the team. And that play alone, not only did it get him hyped, but it really shows why he's one of the stars for the Toronto Blue Jays. Finally, the third game between the Washington Nationals and the Toronto Blue Jays being the game today was actually a really surprising game for the Toronto Blue Jays. Not only because coming into this game, we had a lot of questions regarding the starting pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays being Lucas, and we wanted to know how he's going to play as the starting pitcher, but also we wanted to know how the defensive schemes for the Toronto Blue Jays are going to work, because in the worst case scenario where Lucas really gives up runs and things of that nature, we need to make sure that the Toronto Blue Jays has a really good defensive scheme ready in order to ensure that the Washington Nationals do not get runs in a hurry, because that is definitely going to be their mindset coming into this game. And based on the events that transpired in this third and final game, let's just say that the Washington Nationals definitely have to do more work on their end, because not only did they underestimate Lucas, where he was having a masterful night where he really didn't make any mistakes, but what's more is another player on the Blue Jays not only stepped up his game in this game for the Toronto Blue Jays, but to be honest, he also stepped up his game ever since the third game of that Baltimore Orioles series that we had previously. And that player is George Springer, because man, oh man, has he been cooking up as of late. Now, I did mention in my last video how I was very hard on him, but ever since that point, he really stepped up his game, and he's showing why he's one of the big dogs on the Toronto Blue Jays, because not only is he really delivering on all fronts in this game, whether that be on the offensive end, getting a lot of runs, or making sure that he does everything in a very sneaky way to help his brothers get more runs on their end, but also on the defensive end, he's really understanding what direction the ball is going to be going to and making the correct dives and saves in a timely manner to help the Toronto Blue Jays avoid any home runs that the Washington Nationals gave. And because of that, not only did it help him mentally as he goes into the next series against the New York Mets. But also it really gave the management for the Toronto Blue Jays a much easier time making decisions, especially down the stretch, because they don't need to worry about really making any rash decisions based on mistakes that the star players have produced, especially as the game got to the later innings of the game. So shout out to not only Lucas for the way that he played as the starting pitcher, but also George Springer for the way he batted. And hopefully those two players will be able to continue their play styles going into the month of April, because we will definitely need them, especially when we're playing all of our opponents in the month of April, given the fact that they're all MLB playoff contending teams as well. So yeah, that wraps up my thoughts on the Toronto Blue Jays versus Washington Nationals series that they just played. And as I said before, I really expected the Toronto Blue Jays to win this series, not only because Washington Nationals is a young team, but also given the fact that the Toronto Blue Jays are having a really tough April. We need to get any win possible, and the Washington Nationals game series is definitely one of those. So kudos to the Blue Jays for winning all 3 games and really making a good mark to start off the season, and hopefully they'll continue to play that great baseball going into the future games and series of the season as well. But with all that being said, let me know in the comments below how you all feel about not only this series between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Washington Nationals, but also the Toronto Blue Jays season as well. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Or anything else in between? I'd love to know all of that and more in the comments below, and we can all just chat it up there. But as always, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video where we talk more Blue Jays or talk more sports in general. And until then, Siv signing out.